Okay, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about the single most crucial element for living a happy, successful life. And spoiler alert, it's not about your job, your money, or your relationships, even though it has a massive impact on all of them. It's something way more fundamental.
So, what do you think it is? What's that one thing, that one pillar that really holds everything else up? The one thing that gives you the power to actually shape your own future? The answer is your own self-development, your personal growth. It's pretty much the only thing in life where you have complete and total control. Think of it like the engine of your life, and you, my friend, are the one behind the wheel.
And that really brings us to the core idea here. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? That drive, that little spark, it has to come from inside you. Because without that fire, no amount of outside help is going to make a difference. So today, we're building the toolkit for anyone who feels that spark. All right, let's open up this toolkit. The very first tool, and honestly the foundation for everything else, is your mindset. We're talking about the power of self-training, which goes way beyond just, thinking positive. It's about completely rewiring how you approach your own growth. Let's get really clear on something here. Formal education, school, college, it's super important. It gives you a foundation, it teaches you how to fit into the world. But self-training, that's a whole different ballgame. That's what you do to build on that foundation so you can truly stand out and carve your own path. And the potential here is, well, it's pretty much limitless. Self-training isn't some course you take and then you're done. No, it's a lifelong journey. It's the path that so often leads to financial freedom, sure, but also to that deep sense of personal fulfillment we're all looking for. And if you look back at history's biggest innovators, this is the one thing they all have in common: a relentless obsession with teaching themselves. Okay, so once you've got the right mindset, you need a destination. And that brings us to our second tool, direction. Or you could call it the art of setting really effective goals. Because without a clear direction, all that energy and desire for growth, it just spins in circles.
I absolutely love this analogy from our source material. It's just so simple and perfect. A life without goals just lacks flavor, right? It lacks purpose. Goals are the things that turn some vague, unknown future into a specific destination you can actually aim for. Now, goal setting isn't just one thing. It really works on two different levels. First, you have your long-term goal. That's your ultimate destination, the big picture, right? Where do you want to be in, say, 30 years? And then you've got your short-term goals. These are the steps that get you there, the 1, 3, and 5-year milestones that basically pave the road to that final destination. And this visual really makes it all click. I mean, look at that 30-year goal way out there. It can feel massive, almost impossible from where you're standing today. But see how breaking it down into these smaller 1, 3, and 5-year chunks just makes it feel so much more doable? Suddenly, it's not this giant, terrifying leap. It's just a staircase, and each short-term goal is just taking that very next step. So how do you make sure you actually achieve these goals? Here are 3 simple but super powerful rules. First, get specific. I mean, really specific. None of this "I want to be rich" stuff. No. Define the exact amount and the exact date you'll get it. Second, write them down every single day. This drills it into your brain. And third, immerse yourself. Seriously. Put notes on your desk, change your phone background, fill your social media feeds with stuff related to your goal. Live and breathe it.
And please, remember this. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. Your age, your education, where you grew up, none of that defines your future. Success is about having the right process and just sticking to the path. It's not about your starting line. Okay, we have our mindset, we have our direction, but a map is pretty useless if you don't have an engine to actually move you forward, right? This brings us to our final and maybe the most powerful tool of all, action. And we're going to talk about a simple but kind of magical concept from Japan called Kaizen. So what is Kaizen? Well, it's a Japanese philosophy that basically means continuous improvement. But in practice, it's a method for gently, and I mean gently, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. We all get scared of making big changes, right? Kaizen works by focusing on actions that are so incredibly small, it's literally impossible to fail at them. To really see how this works, let's look at a perfect real-world example. The author of our source material had this personal challenge. There was this incredibly dense, super complex book on labor law they had to read for their work, but they just couldn't get through it. For 4 years. 4. For 4 years, this book just sat there, like a monument to procrastination. 4 years of starting, stopping, and feeling totally overwhelmed by how huge the task was. Does that sound at all familiar?
And then they tried the Kaizen approach. The new goal wasn't to finish a chapter or read for an hour. Nope. The new commitment was simply to read one single page per day. That's it. An action so tiny it was almost laughable and impossible to make an excuse for. And the result? Well, it was incredible. That tiny daily action started to build momentum. And in just 6 months, the entire intimidating book was completely finished. A massive achievement built entirely on the back of a ridiculously small daily habit. So here's the crucial point. We often think we need to make these huge, heroic leaps to make any real progress. But what happens? We burn out. We give up. The Kaizen method proves that small, consistent steps are infinitely more powerful and sustainable in the long run. So there you have it, your complete 3-part toolkit to transform your life. First, you need the mindset of a self-trainer. Second, you need the direction that comes from setting clear, written goals. And third, you need the action engine of Kaizen, powered by those small, consistent steps. This framework really does put all the power squarely in your hands. So the only question left is this. Forget about tomorrow or next week. What will be your first, tiny Kaizen step today?